Let's talk about something we've all felt, but maybe can't quite put our finger on. It's that invisible force in our relationships. The energy that just clicks with some people and, well, really doesn't with others. It's a real, powerful force. And I think by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly how it works.
Okay, let's just dive right into this. You know the feeling, right? You have one conversation and you walk away just buzzing with ideas. You feel great. But then another one leaves you feeling like you just ran a marathon. So is that vibe you're picking up just in your head? Or is there something real, something actually measurable going on here?
I mean, look at the difference. On one side, you've got people who just make you feel seen. The conversation is effortless, and you literally walk away feeling better than you did before. But on the other side, well, those are the interactions that are just flat out exhausting. They leave you on edge, depleted. So we're going to explore the actual science behind this whole dynamic, from ancient wisdom that described it for centuries to a very, very modern threat that's gotten incredibly good at exploiting it.
So, let's start with that gut feeling, that vibe. It turns out it isn't just some vague intuition. Nope, it's a very real energy field that science is, believe it or not, finally starting to measure and understand.
And here's the key concept. It's called the biofield. Now, for centuries, different traditions have talked about the aura or our life force. Well, modern science is now giving it a name and defining it as a real, measurable web of electromagnetic and light-based signals that literally surrounds our bodies and helps regulate everything.
So how do we get from this kind of mystical idea to a measurable scientific fact? Well, the journey's pretty fascinating. It's really a story about ancient intuition finally meeting modern technology. And this has been a long time coming. I mean, thousands of years ago, ancient Vedic texts were describing an energy body. The ancient Greeks called it pruma, this vital, life-giving force. Then fast forward to the 1920s, a biologist makes this huge breakthrough. He discovers that our cells are literally communicating with each other using electromagnetic fields. And now today, we can actually measure it. The idea has always been there. We just needed the right tools to finally see it.
So what is this language our cells are speaking? Well, it's called biophotons. And get this, every single living thing, from a tiny blade of grass to you and me, is constantly emitting this incredibly faint but highly organized stream of light. This is not a metaphor. It's the literal, physical communication network our bodies use to coordinate trillions of cells all at once.
And it is wildly sophisticated. Our bodies are basically using different frequencies for different jobs, kind of like a biological radio station broadcasting on a bunch of channels at the same time. Some signals are just for cells talking to their neighbors, while other frequencies are coordinating entire organs. And what's at the center of this whole broadcast system? Our DNA. It acts like this incredibly complex antenna, both sending and receiving all this information to keep our whole system in sync.
Okay, so if we are all these little broadcasting towers, constantly sending out energy and information, what happens when our biofields actually meet? This is where the magic and the very real science of connection begins.
So what happens when two of these energy fields interact? Something truly profound. Our biological rhythms can literally sync up. And I'm not just using a metaphor here about being on the same wavelength. No, scientific studies show that when we really connect with someone, our heartbeats and even our brainwaves can start to fire in perfect unison. We actually become one rhythmic system.
And what's so fascinating is how we sync up. It totally depends on the relationship. For romantic partners, the highest level of brain-to-brain connection happens through silent physical touch. But for friends, or even strangers, it's conversation that gets the job done. The emotional bond we share actually dictates the physics of our connection.
And underneath this whole energetic exchange, there's a powerful chemical reaction happening. You've got oxytocin, the bonding hormone, making you feel safe and slashing your stress. Then vasopressin kicks in. That's the vigilance hormone that drives that instinct to protect your partner. And of course, dopamine, the reward chemical, floods our system, creating those intense feelings of pleasure and craving. This chemical cocktail is so potent, it can actually shut down the parts of our brain that are responsible for critical judgment, which, it turns out, is the scientific basis for the old saying, love is blind. So you can think of a healthy energy exchange like a figure eight. It's this continuous, flowing loop where both people are giving and receiving. It's a mutual connection that builds both of you up. A toxic connection, though, that's a one-way street. These so-called energy vampires aren't tapping into your biofield to share. They're there to take, and they leave you feeling completely drained and depleted. But what if the most sophisticated, most effective energy vampire ever created wasn't a person at all? Think about it.
The algorithms that run our social media feeds are designed to mirror us with chilling perfection. They don't just learn what we like. They learn our emotional triggers, our insecurities, our deepest psychological vulnerabilities, all to create a powerful dependency that keeps us totally hooked. And they do this by trapping us in what's called a dopamine habit loop. It starts with a cue, a notification, maybe just a feeling of boredom. That triggers the routine. Open the app, start scrolling. The reward is always unpredictable, a little dopamine hit from a like or a funny video. This is the exact same behavioral psychology that's used to design addictive slot machines. It's engineered to mine your single most valuable resource, your attention.
So what's the real cost of this exchange? Well, you pour your priceless energy, your time, your focus, your emotions into the algorithm. And what do you get back? Well, for a lot of us, it's a nasty cocktail of anxiety, body dysmorphia, FOMO, and what some researchers have even started calling Facebook depression. It is a horribly lopsided trade.
We really think we're in control, right? That we're making all the choices. But this quote, it just nails it. We're not really choosing what to see. The algorithm is subtly shaping our choices, our behaviors, and maybe even our sense of who we are, all to keep us feeding it our energy.
So, in a world where our energy is being targeted by both people and programs, how do we fight back? How do we protect our own biofield?
You know, the first and maybe most important step is just this: understanding that your energy is a real, tangible, and incredibly valuable resource. And right now, it is under constant assault. Just recognizing that fact is the foundation of what you might call energetic sovereignty. So I guess I'll just leave you with this one question to carry with you today. Who and what are you giving your energy to? Because consciously and intentionally choosing the answer to that question, well, that's how you reclaim your focus, your well-being, and ultimately, yourself.